Hi, and welcome to this week's headlines. I'm Sharaad, and here are the highlights. Tony Phua challenged 1MDB chief Arul Kanda Kandasamy to a live interview. In response, Arul said he was willing to debate Tony Phua only if he steps down from the Public Accounts Committee. Cabinet Minister Najib Razak agreed with Arul's conditions, while Communications Minister said RTM is willing to host a debate. Former Deputy President of PAS takes over the leadership of the global movement of moderates. The rise of this conservative leader, known for pushing for UMNO-PAS unity talks, comes even as PAS Secretary General gets nominated to the PAC. Taqiyuddin Hassan's first act as member of the PAC is to support the DPM's call for an oath of secrecy over the PAC proceedings. Prime Minister Najib Razak will be suing veteran MCA leader Tun Dr. Dr. Ling was quoted as saying that he agreed with the former Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir's demand for Najib to resign, claiming that he has taken people's money and put it in his own personal accounts. But this week's story is the long-running saga of teaching English in schools. Let's get to that. MBMMBI, MIMBI or MBMMBI or MIMBI or MBMMBI, MIMBI or the If I can't get this right this second, I'm going to try a new sentence again. MBMMBI, MIMBI or the Mematabatkan Bahasa Malaysia dan Memperkukuh Bahasa Inggeris policy sounds like it could be a dance. 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or is that 1 step forward and 2 steps back? I forget. But perhaps I should not prejudge the latest initiative, one of many the government has had articulated over the years. Industry players have for some years now pointed out the obvious decline in standards. In his latest Twitter salvo, AirAsia's Tony Fernandez said Malaysia has lost its competitiveness due to our standards in English going down. It's a critical time to reverse decades of decline in English our children have suffered. He said that all in 140 characters. No wonder he's a captain of industry. Before we get into the substance of the newest initiative, it must be noted that it was clarified that this isn't a change in policy, but simply a program. Before we hear from the naysayers, let's listen to what the government has to say. As the Dual Language Program, or DLP, somewhat confusingly suggests, it has 2 prongs. So it's not about, as one might imagine, an embrace of bilingualism. What it is, and what it proposes, is a limited revival of the teaching of science and math in English, coupled with the use of English during extracurricular activities. So if you thought it was absurd to have maths teachers instruct students in English, now, well, the volleyball coach is getting into the act too. It's called the Highly Immersive Program. I say limited revival because schools have to satisfy 3 conditions in order to qualify. They are 1. Proper resources, 2. Teachers who can teach in English and Bahasa Malaysia, and 3. Parents who are supportive. It seems to me that it's the government's responsibility to supply 1 and 2. In 2003, the government introduced the PPSMI, where science and maths were taught in English, but it was abolished in 2009. Even though it was thought as a half measure, groups desperate to see English proficiency improved for all Malaysian children embraced it. And since then, other initiatives like making a pass in English at high school compulsory have been stillborn. Detractors view the question of English at schools as a zero-sum game. English can only be improved at the expense of the national language Malay, so they say. The government, in a desperate bid to satisfy cultural conservatives but also address the needs of citizens in a global market, have resorted to an online poll to give their policy legitimacy. Idris Jalla, head of the government's Performance Management and Delivery Unit, Pemandu, announced that more than 90% of 190,000 respondents in an online poll wanted more options to take more subjects in English. So, will the powerful cultural conservative lobby be appeased? I don't think so. Will we have to continue to do the MIMBI?
Mama, you get it. Mama, you get it.
Very likely. What do you think? Thanks for watching and leave your thoughts below. I'm Sharaad for BFM.